Hello and welcome back. After a 1 day break, I did decide to take out my Talwar for a spin again. Now, I do think that it is slowly time for me to change the Talwar into a Talwar Assault, which is the tier 7 variant of the Talwar, mostly because most of the ships that are currently flying are tier 6 and tier 5 and above. And that means that I will need the Talwar Assault in order to keep on using the Talwars for these PvP videos. Now, the first target here is a prototype that I did luckily stumble upon, and here the thing that is saving me from taking any damage from that prototype is the range from the ship. The medium decomposers do have very poor tracking, and they cannot hit fast moving targets at close distances, which means this prototype is toast if the prototype doesn't warp out, because in most cases you are going to need one faction disruptor or two of these normal disruptors to keep those ships from warping out. And unfortunately here I have only one disruptor, which means that this ship is most likely going to warp out, which is what happened. Well, I guess that was a nice fight. If I had by some miracle two disruptors, this would have been one of my best kills so far with a Talwar. But unfortunately, I didn't count on the chances that I would stumble upon that ship in a anomaly. So that happens, and all I can say is that was a nice fight. It was exciting. I know that I didn't have two disruptors, and for the next time I'll definitely think about putting two disruptors or at least one faction disruptor. And of course the ship did warp out, and most of these anomalies are now going to be mostly empty. Now, I did think this time to go into nullsec and of course to record the whole journey, but I didn't have the time for it, and I just didn't wanna risk losing a ship due to a gate camp. Now, speaking of gate camps, I was kind of prevented to actually go to my home system for at least a couple days now, because I need to do around 60 or 70 jumps, and every fifth jump is mostly a gate camp. Now I know I can get easily to my home system in a quick ship, but I do need to bring a cruiser or battle cruiser over there, because I do want to do the tier 8 anomalies over there, and of course the tier 10 anomalies. But at the moment I do have a idea how to actually reach that home system, and of course how to reach the nullsec systems. And for that I do need one of the covert ops cruisers. I think I can make one of them be very decent for anomalies and for overall for PvE and for missions. Now, you might ask, why a covert ops cruiser? Well, it is a cruiser, they can be fast, they are mostly kind of superior to the tier 6 cruisers, and most importantly, they do have a cloaking device that you can fit on them, which is a very crucial and important module if you want to survive in nullsec, at least for me, because I always feel kind of exposed and I always feel like someone is watching me if I am not cloaked in a nullsec system. Now here is where I did a big mistake, and that is orbiting too close at that Omen trainer. And of course the first mistake is attacking a cruiser with a destroyer. Now, that Omen I think is a tier 5 ship, and it is overall superior and more powerful than a ordinary destroyer. Now, one thing that I didn't see so far is a Omen using missiles. And this is also a example of how powerful missiles are, even on ships that do not have bonuses on missiles. Now I can stay and fight, and I probably can take at least 2 more hits, but it's just not worth it and I did warp out here. However, I did notice that the ship did not have range above 22 kilometers. I do have range around 28 kilometers with this ship, and I could have stayed if I were orbiting around 25 kilometers from the ship. So I did make 2 mistakes here. And of course, now that cruiser is trying to chase me, which sadly, that cruiser will never catch me. Alright, well, time to jump on the mission part now. Now this is one of the missions that I personally didn't like much. And here you are going to be facing a elite cruiser, which is going to be kind of a problem, but at the same time it is good that in this mission you are not going to face any enemy ship that is equipped with a disruptor. That is good, which means you can warp out if you have to, but keep in mind those ships do use a lot of Nosferatus, and they also use a lot of neutralizers, which means if you are engaging these enemy ships at close range, then your capacitor might suffer. Of course, you can counter that by using Nosferatus and of course having rigs that will increase the capacitor recharge rate and the overall capacitor volume. Now, speaking of earlier, when I talked about the Covertops cruisers, the one that I did have in mind is this one, the Arbitrator Covertops. Mostly because this ship is using drones. It does have bonus on drone DPS and it does give bonus on the overall drone control range. And that ship is the one that is currently attracting me the most, because I do have drones, I do have decent drone skills, and by the time I hit level 7 I will have very decent drone skills. I can build the ship to be very efficient at anomalies and at encounters. And also a very important thing, this ship can fit a cloaking device. Now at the moment I think the cloaking device for bombers is going for around 30 million, and the classic Covertops for the Covertops ships is at around 5 million, which means that I am most likely going to go for all of these ships. They are practical and they are also decent at their job. Now I also did think about the Blackbird, but I don't think that we do have jammers yet, which if we did have jammers I would definitely go for the Blackbird, because it does have also a missile bonus, which is good. I also have decent missile skills, and of course these skills are going to be increased over time. But at the moment the ship that is attracting me the most is the Arbitrator, and most likely that will be the next ship that I'll be flying. And of course when I get that ship I will be returning to my home system in Nullsec. I actually haven't been in my home system for a minimum of maybe 3 weeks, mostly because I did come up here in high sec and low sec to do missions, because I got kind of tired of anomalies back a couple weeks ago. And now, because the corporation that I am currently at does run PvP fleets, I do want to participate in those. And that means I will have to go to the home system. And that means you can expect potentially a PvP fleet video maybe per week. It depends on when we actually decide to run PvP fleets, but I think we are going to do these on I don't know if it's going to be a weekly basis. I don't have the information for that, but I will be recording the fleets, and I think it will be interesting to see how we will manage in a fleet. Now, I was looking at this prophecy for some time now, and this ship is kind of, I don't know, the whole design is, I guess, nice, but it kind of looks weird. At least it looks weird to me. It is not the ship that I would like to look at every day, honestly. And most Amarr ships are actually very nice looking. I do like the Amarr designs a lot. Especially when you look at the dragon, you do see the pattern that they did draw on the frontal armor of the ship, which is something that I do like. I do like these small details. Now, personally, the ship designs that I like the most are oddly Minmatar and Galante. Now, I know people usually don't like the aesthetics of the Galante ships. For example, the Vexor does look like a shoe if you look at the ship from a certain angle, which once you see you can't unsee. At least that is in my case. As soon as I turn to look the ship from the sides, I immediately see a shoe, and I do have to kind of try to unsee that. And of course there is the famous picture where we can see the avatar as a mushroom, which is also kind of a iconic picture. But overall, the Amarr designs are very nice. Alright, let's see, what's the next target going to be? Now, soon I am going to face that elite Malar Guardian. Now, oddly, I don't see the elite in the name of this ship. But how do I know that this is a elite ship? Well, you are not going to be seeing a lot of Guardian cruisers flying at 5k meters per second, or should I say, you won't see a lot of these cruisers flying at 5000 meters per second. Mostly they're literally faster than a interceptor, and I don't mind tanky ships. I don't mind if they do a lot of damage, but a cruiser that is faster than a interceptor is honestly kind of weird. And I do think that a little bit of balancing needs to be done with these elite ships, because it is indeed very odd to see a Guardian fly at 5000 meters per second. Now, I didn't play Evenline in like, I think maybe 3 years, because my computer broke down, but I don't remember seeing Guardians be known for their speed. The last thing that I remember about those Guardians is that they are actually good for tanking. They're actually very tanky ships, and they are hard to shoot down. And they also are good for team buffs and of course for team logistics. But this Guardian is at the moment a interceptor. And that is indeed very, very odd. But thankfully, I am in a... What is this? Oh, come on, don't invite me in a fleet. Like, I know that trick. People are after... People are trying to shoot me down, I see. Well, the old tricks are not working. And I am not accepting any random fleet invite, especially when I am in low sec. That's just... I know that they can warp in if you accept the fleet invite, and then you might be easy kill. Maybe when I actually get a Gila that's fully faction geared, maybe then I might accept a random fleet invite just to see what will happen when they warp in at the anomaly or mission. That would be actually funny if they end up warping and if they end up dying because they warped in on a Gila, which I think that ship will be very fun to fly. I am excited for it, kind of. But now, first thing that I need to get is a way, and of course I need a ship that will allow me to travel from high sec to null sec without much of a problem because of the gate camps. Well, thankfully that Amarr Guardian was shot down. Now I can focus on the rest of the ships. Now, one thing that I have to say, the overall background of the Amarr space is beautiful. I mean, I do like to take screenshots of the game, and afterwards I like to make pretty pictures out of them. That's how I usually make the thumbnails. I do edit my thumbnails quite a bit. I do increase the overall sharpness, and I do change the overall lighting and things like that, because I do like a pretty picture, and Amarr space for that is just perfect. The perfect example would be, I think, this current system and the background detail. I really do like the background detailing that they did. And of course, speaking of details, I do want to do something special, and I do want to make couple of future videos in 4K for this game, because after all, we are soon going to be at 1,000 subscribers, and that is a milestone, and I do want to deliver more high quality videos as a thank you. Now, this ship right here is oddly very nice to look at, actually. Now, I didn't fly a lot of logistics back then, and I don't fly a lot of logistic ships at the moment, mostly because I do like to shoot stuff, but I don't like to repair allies, although repairing allies is also a very important thing. And if you ask me, a good logistic can be a lot more important than a DPS ship in some cases, of course. But in the end, both are very important in fleets. Now, this ship, I think I'll spare it for the last kill, but after all, that will also depend on what ship is closest to me. I have to say, this mission was kind of difficult, mostly because of that elite cruiser and its speed. Now, I do use the same tactics that I did use before, and I do use the same tactics that I use for the vast majority of these encounters, and that is because I am in a ship that uses drones as the primary source of DPS. Now, if I were in my Caracal Navy, I think things would have been a little bit different, because I do have a Caracal Navy that can go around 2,500 meters per second, which isn't that slow, it's actually quite fast. and I might be able to keep range from that Maller and just to use the main weapons to take down the ship. But the other problem would be that these ships do have a decent range, and my range on the Caracal Navy is around 38 kilometers, which is low compared to the 46-kilometer range that I do have with drones, and the battle cruisers do hit hard. I do not have decent resistances on the Caracal Navy because I did mostly focus that ship on range and DPS. Now, for encounters, you don't need DPS as much as you would need a ship to be tanky, but of course both tactics would work, and the tactic will mostly depend on your style. In my case, at the moment, I do enjoy drones, and after this I will also enjoy most likely drones because I'll be switching to a arbitrator core tops, and in that case I'll be also showing you a couple of tricks that you can do with a ship that can cloak, and I think I might also surprise a lot of players that are around the Inquisitor sites, because most of them are not counting that someone might be around one of these containers just waiting for a victim. Now, one thing that I do have to keep in mind is that they do have a target lock delay after you uncloak, but more of that when I get the Covertops cruiser, which I really hope will happen very soon. Tomorrow I do plan to do missions the whole day, and I do plan to get at least 100 mil tomorrow, because I do plan to do a couple storylines, and hopefully tomorrow I will be getting a new ship alongside a new rank. Well, I have to say this mission was fun. It was kind of hard, but it was fun. It does give you 5 million ISK for completion, which is nice, and it is, I think, one of the more higher paying sub-storyline mission. And they are overall fun, and they also do give you decent loot. The last prophecy is slowly going down. Now I have to say, this mission did give around 2.5 to 3 million ISK. That was actually a really nice reward. It was fun. And with that being said, I do hope that you enjoyed. It is always a pleasure to play and record this game for you. Stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.